Hi, everybody. Today we're going to talk about the end of our chapter 2. This is still media literacy in the digital age, and the PowerPoints are on Blackboard. I'm just helping you understand all the points by going over the material. Media has power. We established that. Media contains messages that can be either persuasive or they can be emotionally charged, make us scared, happy, sad. Media messages can also contain political, social, religious, and cultural elements to them. And as such, if they're based in culture, if they're aiming at entertaining rather than informing only, they can be far from true, misleading, sometimes biased, and persuasive messages, especially political persuasion, advertising, can be aimed at shifting public opinion or the feelings of the audience in a certain way. Everything we see and hear in professionally produced ads, TV shows, movies, podcasts, YouTube videos, graphic novels, cartoons, it's all intentional. Nothing is left to chance. People who make the messages, people who make the media content, they're well aware of the power of persuasion, the power of media, and they're using that power to achieve their own goals. So once again, media professionals understand how messages can transmit information and influence audiences. And you, as individuals born in this society at this day and age where media are so richly infused in every aspect of our reality, you know how media can change your mood. And when we say media professionals, we don't necessarily mean the person who's getting paid for making media, but people who claim to be a YouTuber or an Instagram user or a Facebook user. So we know how we're going to influence the audiences. And that's why sometimes, for instance, if I post a campaign to raise money for a certain cause, just like Facebook allows people to raise money for, let's say, autism or a rescue mission, we know the influence it will have on the audience, and we try to use it for the advantage of our selected cause. Another part of media literacy is to understand how media exert power through symbolic use of visual elements, of verbal elements, of letters, sentences, color, sound. So those are symbols. And in our conversation today, for those who missed our talk, we said that there are signs and there are symbols. What's the difference between signs and symbols? A sign is anything that contains a message. A sign is something that we use to convey information. For example, numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When we write them down, they are signs. When we say the English alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, those are signs. Symbols are more complex signs, whereas, signs can be learned. A young child learns language and learns the meaning of words, learning the signs, as the ultimate pun, sign language, the American Sign Language. When you make signs with your hands, you're conveying some meaning, right? But a symbol is something that we agree upon. A symbol can be a flag. A symbol can be a gesture. When I say this, or when we say a white pigeon, a white dove is the symbol of peace. A white flag is the symbol of surrender. Those meanings we don't learn. those meanings we agree upon. Those are developed in a culture. So symbols are more complicated signs because symbolic meaning is based on some sort of tradition, right? More tradition rather than just this is what we use to write. Okay, so all messages are made of signs. Everything is made of signs, and we can say they're also made of symbols. All messages are considered what we call media text. Say a written sentence, the sentence that you see on your screen, all of our communication is made up of symbols. That is text. How do we know it's text? Because it's made of signs. All these letters are signs. On the other side of the PowerPoint is an image, a green square symbolizing a thought, a message. That is another sign, but this could also be seen as a symbol because it's a symbolic representation of a mind bubble, a thought bubble, or a message. It's also resembling the message on your phone. In that sense, it will be a simile maybe, or an icon. But let's not go there into semiotics because you have time to learn about semiotics in other classes, such as research methods. For now, it's enough to say that signs are used to create messages and to transmit those messages. Symbols are based on tradition. Say the victory symbol, the symbol of freedom, the symbol of peace. Those are based on tradition. So here are some signs or symbols for an apple, for the word apple, the letter A, some pictures and poems. And further, you have a lot of examples, like the stop sign is a sign. The pumpkin is the symbol of Halloween. This is the Instagram icon. We call it an icon because that's what it is. It's resembling something. This is the signage for the New York Yankees, the uniform. It's symbolic. The wedding ring, the engagement ring rather, the diamond ring is a symbol of love and matrimony. And lately it has become a representation of a union between different kinds of people, not necessarily man and a woman, but same sex. So we can use the same symbol to convey different meanings. The Incredible Hulk, it's a symbol of strength. The poopy sign, it's an icon. It resembles actual poop, but it is also a symbolic thing because it means I'm unhappy with something. And the ultimate symbol of our country, the flag, it is nothing but symbolic. It contains symbolic meaning, and it does have symbolic value for every citizen of this country. You cannot mistreat the flag for its high symbolic value it carries. So, mediated communication, that is media text, relies on the use of symbols and signs. So here are some images from movies, etc., and you will understand. Those are examples of, if they make you think about what is depicted here, which movie is that. So visual symbols, going into the visual category, because now we're communicating online through visuals. Color, shape, movement are pieces of visual information, visual symbols that convey meaning. And psychologists have actually deciphered the meaning of each color, by conducting experiments. They found how colors affect people emotionally. Red is passion, warmth. Green is hope, fertility. Pink is romance, tenderness. Black is elegance, power, magic. It's also tragic in some cultures. White, pure light, honest. But in some cultures, like in India, white would be the color of a widow's clothes or the color of a funeral. So See, this is exactly what symbolic means. Symbolic is not the same for all cultures. In China, the wedding color is red. In most Christian cultures, the wedding color is white. Whereas in India, as we established, the color white represents widowhood, being a widow, loss, and funeral. So, based on the emotional value of each color, advertising is using colors to create a message. And so, a little bit of cartoon examples. You can look at that on your own. Cartoons and movies. And finally, we discussed intertextuality a little bit. That's the connection between different media texts. When one text references or draws upon another, brings it up to emphasize something, to make a point, such as South Park is using text from media, news media, or topics of public conversation on whatever is in the public sphere, whatever is on people's minds, in the news, in newspapers. They take those topics and turn them into comic episodes. So the meaning is created by the audience, who recognizes the reference and sees value in the way those references are used. And I was also saying to you all earlier that I wasn't raised in this country. In my introduction, I mentioned that I wasn't raised in America, and therefore, asking me if I watched such and such cartoon while growing up, even if I remember I Love Lucy, no, I don't, because I did not grow up in this country. Whereas you all grew up in this country, not just the place, but also the reality of rich media surrounding you all from day one, from birth. My grandchild can already take a picture of me without knowing, and that makes her a digital native, right? Digital native. So a big part of media literacy then is to learn how to recognize the use of symbols in media, because as we established, the makers of media are fully aware of the power of those symbols. They're fully aware of the power of learning, of the power of twisting your mind, of influencing your emotions. And that's used very richly in advertising to make a lot of money, to sell products. And it's also used in popular culture to create certain messages and create meaning. So what's important to remember here is that we as audience members, we co-create that meaning through our shared history, because we know things through our culture, through our environment. We help create the meaning, and part of media literacy is to know how to recognize, how to break down the symbols and the way they're used in media, and to understand what those messages would mean to a broader audience. Eventually answering the question, what's going to be the influence of this media content on the broader public? Okay, so that was the end of chapter 2. This is the third part of chapter 2. And the following, the next segment of our conversation, the next video will be on chapter 3. Then we have an exam that includes chapters 1, 2, and 3, but not until chapter 3 is fully covered. Thank you.